Welcome to the Mindfulness Meditation Podcast presented by the Rubin Museum of Art. We are a museum in Chelsea, New York City that connects visitors to the art and ideas of the Himalayas and serves as a space for reflection and personal transformation. I'm your host, Tashi Chodron. Every Thursday, we present a meditation session inspired by a different artwork from the Rubin Museum's collection and led by a prominent meditation teacher from the New York area. This podcast is a recording of our weekly in-person practice. In the description for each episode, you will find information about the theme for that week's session, including an image of the related artwork. Our Mindfulness Meditation Podcast is presented in partnership with Sharon Salzberg and teachers from the New York Insight Meditation Center, the Interdependence Project, and Parabola Magazine, and supported by the Frederick P. Lenz Foundation for American Buddhism. And now, please enjoy your practice.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Mindfulness Meditation here at the Rubin Museum of Art. My name is Tim McHenry. I'm Deputy Executive Director here at this global hub for Himalayan art with a home base here in New York City. And we're really so glad to have such a full house to join us for this very special occasion when we are to hear from our honored teacher, Tulku Pema Rigtsal Rinpoche. So, as is our weekly tradition here every Thursday, what we'd like to do is explore our collection a little and take inspiration from it. And Rinpoche has chosen two objects in our collection for us to have a look at. We'll do that first, and then Rinpoche will join us on stage and guide us in a meditation after having done a brief teaching beforehand. And the meditation will take maybe about 15 minutes or so. So let's take a look at the objects that Rinpoche has chosen for today's session. And they are, of course, the Vajra and the bell. The theme of this session, indeed, for the whole of February is love and compassion. And the Vajra and the bell, of course, signify the union of all dualities. The Vajra is held in the right hand and the bell in the left. When one's arms are crossed, it symbolizes that the two forces are united, representing enlightenment. And they are probably the two most important ritual objects in Tibetan Buddhist practice. The Vajra, of course, representing method, and the bell, wisdom. So I'm very, very honored on behalf of the Rubin Museum of introducing Rinpoche to you. Tulku Pema Rigtsal Rinpoche is the supreme head of the Namkha Kyongdzong Monastery in Humla, Nepal. And at the age of 3, he was recognized by Dudjom Rinpoche as the reincarnation of Chime Rinpoche, who is the emanation of the great Indian sitter Dhamma Sangye, and spiritual head of the renowned Shepphal Ling Monastery in Tibet. In 1985, he constructed his own monastery in Humla and has taught the 13 major philosophical texts, the Shungchen Chamsum, for 24 years. And he's been an inspiration to so many and so many of you here in this room, and we're so glad that you could join us for this very special session. Rinpoche has studied the Vajrayana tradition of the Nyingma lineage from the renowned spiritual masters, and I can't name them all, but I'll just refer to a few, Dudjom Rinpoche, of course, and Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche amongst them. Rinpoche will be joined by his translator, Laura, on stage, and we're very grateful to Laura for facilitating this experience and this teaching. But Rinpoche, it's such an honor to have you here at the Rubin Museum of Art. It's been many years since you were last here, and please join us on the stage. Thank you so much.
Okay. Namaste. Go to shower. Tene ta tering degi sheshi de uji karas na doji dan tilu ki gone. Tene ta tongi ta nyingje kon jishe gores de esa du te tin di kala. Ti kora garangi chashi chunshi skana balpa. Jewa yakju tene tapshi chigins.
So the first topic today is the Vajra and bell. The Vajra and bell, which symbolize or express emptiness and compassion. So I will do my best in this short time to just share a bit about these symbols.
Chidangi dorje de tilu siginti sanga ke tene ngaranzo digires concept chepigi ne yoje jires.
Generally speaking, the Vajra and bell are implements used in secret mantra practice.
네, 다디 도르지데 트룰은 대화지 잡셔나다 추즈카시기 살고 말했어.
If we were to explain the real meaning of Vajra and bell, we couldn't finish even in a few hours.
하레스나 직밀링 밖에 단가라 공두 남신 마틸바당 도르지게 셰바 야신 보여레스.
Because there is a very detailed explanation of the Vajra and bell in a text in one of Jigme Lingpa's compositions.
인도 까마타 도르두지 셰바이나 tillu korang la kusum sangde yore, sanje chuku lungu tul kusum sangde yore, tene ngaran soki kusum sangde yore, sanje ku dan sung dan tuk dan ku di kangre saba shaldong di, tillu ki shaldong di ku re, tene sung di, kya kya kyo di, tene sung re, tene ngola dorji yoke di tuk re, tene sanje ku sung tuk sum di, tene sanje tamji suru dana sanje ku diwa sung tuk diwa, di tamji sum di, tene tillu la di yore.
In short, let's look at the bell first. The bell embodies the enlightened body, speech, and mind of all Buddhas. So how is this the case? At the top of the bell, there is a face. That face represents or rather embodies the enlightened body of all enlightened ones. The sound that the bell makes, the ringing, embodies the speech or illustrates the speech of all enlightened beings. And the Vajra handle, that symbolizes enlightened mind. So in this way, the enlightened body, speech of all Buddhas is contained in the bell.
tene dorjil samtangina ogtengati tene ishingares ishingar kena bashu gujmare ishingare tene gogi tene ngati tatsenga tsenga ya tsenga ma ya tsenga thodi ya de galwa kungares tene number nang se dorji semba rinjin june nawa thai tuen joba kunga engo ngati ishinga ya de chuing ishin melong shi nyamni so so chatushi 이싱아 데티베게 되네 이싱아다 궁아데 도르지게 총고요래 데티니게 타딜라 나랑 좀 도페마 게요래 디에티네 셈바게다 셈마게게 게자래 디니들로 리지르 공딜라 디리리디 간에서 버제 되네 sur도지 이시 탐지데 틀린 약직선 찍을 되도 단다레스.
As for the Vajra, the lower 5 prongs of the Vajra illustrate the 5 wisdoms, the 5 primordial wisdoms. Probably no need to mention these to you. These are the Dharmadhatu wisdom, the mirror-like wisdom, the discriminating wisdom, wisdom of equanimity, and the all-accomplishing wisdom. So that those are illustrated by the 5 lower prongs. The 5 upper prongs symbolize the 5 kayas, the 5 wisdom bodies of Virochana, Vajrasattva, Ratnasambhava, Amitayus, and Amoghasiddhi. Surrounding both the 5 upper and lower prongs are 8 lotus petals. These symbolize the male and female 8 bodhisattvas. And the central hub, or sort of ball in the center of the Vajra, symbolizes that all of these are contained within the ultimate single bindu. To explain the meaning of the Vajra and bell very briefly, that's it.
Indu kangla marsandi sanga ke nyamsa lingkuchi indu kangla sanga la lasoso ke tine changse mangu yore kashi la tine tiku, kashi la purwa, kashi la tine ta topa ndo kashi la tine chingaranzo ta tinde ki tine mangu yore nawanso ta ti labna labchuse yo mar pemi ke changse ina ta minda mangu yore laso ina gyalwa ringa la changse ringa la so yorde 이나양 르갸 릭직도 되비 차게티 도르지데 텔로레스 강레스나 디디 라마 도지스비게 차예를 도지 차이는 들로 남지도 도지sem바데 상게 탐지게다 지와 십주성이 적동합수 자기를 하디 도지sem바레 도지sem비게 차선데 도르지데 텔로레 도지데 텔로디 청와이나 된 상하게 차게 탐지데 창마툼나양 들로 도지섬 예비게 되네 라탐지게 차게데 상도 요레스.
The Vajra and bell are implements of secret mantra practice. They are hand implements, things that are held in the hands of the deities. There are so many different hand implements of the various tantric deities. Some deities hold a curved knife, some are purba, some are skull cup, and so on. Each of the 5 Buddha families hold specific and different hand implements, and so on and so forth. For instance, the 100 Buddha families each have their respective hand implements. However, all of these 100 and more hand implements of the 100 Buddha families can be contained in the Vajra and the bell, in these 2. Why is that the case? Well, the Buddha Vajrasattva contains or embodies all of the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities, the 52 wrathful and 48 peaceful deities. In that way, Vajrasattva embodies all different Buddha families. And Vajrasattva, what does he hold in his hands? He holds in his right hand a Vajra, in his left hand a bell. So in this way, the Vajra and bell embody all hand implements in all Buddha families. In this way, if one can hold, so to speak, or embody the Vajra and bell, in that way, one can embody or hold the hand implements or insignia of all Buddhas.
남경 also Rinpoche, Dasen Rinpoche so Tilu the Durjide Lama Tawaso ke Chawachidi kan Mawa Choksi Tola ngarang so Tildin si go DM mebache Kashi de Pangtola Shang Gangba Odla Sha Tinde di Chingso ke ngarang so Lakshana Shin Sogli de Udam Burlen de Tinde Mare di Tinde Sam dan Chewa Pendore Tilu dan Durji Sekine Pemi Zache Bore Muni Chigine Kulli Jang Tilu the Durji Zache Durji ke Tilu ke Sheba ina Memmiza, the Indian Tilu Tilting or Tilu Kushep Goyere, Tilu the Chesham Yada Shagoyeres, the Pet and Bongo Sungu, the Timoni Redu, the Nintangaransoge, the Chisavata Gondi Namshet Sodan, Tintigana, down Dukanla, Timoni Tilu Shepa Common Zet and Aranzo, Bimamita get Tilu Durji Shepa. In the town, the only Haliwa Zashim Bushivere, the Indian Aranzo Chevasina, Durji the Tilu de la Kushavia, what Tilu Tidenia, Tushubia. Ne tilu ina ya kinkor nangla ya shakba o ya tinda di kangba dang den o dang tulo am zui tiga ndo tinda sawa nini nga rangso chewa jina di chikyu bindu de kya rangso de jitang nangbi ki tondala tilu dang tinda research ki nda dang tilu da tinda ki tilu da doji la tinda ha kundu chigi ina tinda tarong shibshin chawa tinda taga ina di chudu chi kama dun nangla di sarkyu chige chamare di tindu kangla tinda re diyo desu.
Khenpo Daze Rinpoche would often talk about the Vajra and bell and say, really the Vajra and bell, they should be treated with uttermost respect and reverence. For instance, they shouldn't just be placed down directly on a table. Rather, they should have their own mat, actually, like a dedicated mat. But rather than that being the case, often monks and practitioners, they treat the Vajra and bell very carelessly, almost as if they're just like a product kind of manufactured, like something made cut by a carpenter or a craftsman. That is absolutely not the case, he said. In actual fact, if we understand the meaning of Vajra, for instance, we understand that a Vajra is even more precious, even more sacred than a statue, than the representation of Buddha's body. This being the case, we really need to respect Vajra and bell. For instance, we can do this by using a special mat, placing the Vajra and bell on that mat, keeping the Vajra bell in the shrine in a high and clean place. They shouldn't be just like placed on one's lap, placed on a table carelessly, kept in a low place. Certainly they shouldn't be walked over and things like that. If we study the Tantras, we will find very detailed explanations of the profound meaning of the Vajra and bell. For instance, Vimalamitra gave a detailed explanation of the Vajra and bell. And if we look to those explanations, we'll see just how and why these items are so incredibly blessed and sacred. This being the case, if any of you are practitioners and you possess Vajra and bell, you should treat them with respect in the way that I've described, that the teachers explain. And those of you who are sort of just interested in learning about the Vajra bell as like a topic of research or something, just be aware that 7 minutes is certainly not enough to even begin to understand the meaning of these sacred items.
Tene tangaranzo nyamlimba chige ina tene changsen mangbo dabo yama tumna yang diruda tene doji ni dabo yabo yabna tene latam chige changsen dabo yabna dige yore tene jaba da chigwa re de war kaasana jidang sanga la tene sanga ga dupike ne sanga ga ne bike je sanga ga dupike tu sanga ga dupike ha se dishi de be secretary se gore sanga ga na de je na la ngara diruda doji ni de now 탐지 뒤도 인디 강한디 뱀미기 자셔버려 이나연 도트 디나 치고 마임바게 나가나마 치고 마임바게 지당게 들루기다 도지게 디네 샤바덴도 나네 요사레 데디인디 갈라 간디 동알아서 비다 간디 세겐도 보다 당 간디 세게 지당 가나서 양 게와시나 양데 지당 간디 세게 가나서 들루기 야가르 켈라 간디 세요레 이때안 도 나라양 간디 에게 도르기다 청구요레 디 지당게 양 야니기 간디 세겐도 야 싱지 동겨 디마르데 마르당가람 디조티기 때 다 디조 탐지야 방안 소소게 가브레 고바레 다 돈다레 요레 다이나야 찌르당게 마르다 돈다데 마야 고시나 도 신이 딱 떨어지나 동니다 닝제니를 관데그레 동니 세겐데 디로 닝제 세겐데 도제라게 Tene ya tumbu ya ndogene sangagina tap tang shera sigin yira she tap sigin di dorji sherap sigin di tilu la she. Tene sanga zogba shimbu ya li da damsa kiranzo Western gimi di zogba shimbu pekawe. Zogba shimbu ke da rikpa tang kansa sa da riktong sigin rikpa tang tongba sa rikpa dorji tongba sigin di tilu. Mada tende jini ya ta rang su tekpa rinpa kuda jadni shege ina ya shekyu meba mar shekyu yoris.
This being the case, if one is a practitioner, and as a practitioner one isn't able to keep all of the various insignia or hand implements of the deities, but one can just keep a vajra and a bell, all of the deities' insignia or hand implements are contained in the vajra and bell. So just by possessing a vajra and bell, you in that way possess the insignia of all deities without exception. This is the case because in the secret mantra tradition, there are 4 things that are taught to be secret or that are said that should be kept secret by a practitioner. First of all is the place of one's practice. Secondly, the substances of one's practice. Third, the time. And fourth, the deity. These need to be kept secret. When we talk about substances here, Vajra and Bell are examples of secret mantra substances. So they are incredibly sacred implements. This being said, the bell does appear in the sutra teachings as well, in the sutra context. It's in that case, it's called a gandhi, which is the Hindi word for bell. That word gandhi can also refer to the stick that is used in the Vinaya context, but it can also refer to the bell. So the use of bells does appear in sutra level of teachings with various significance and in different contexts. At that level of teaching, so the level of the vehicle of characteristics, we can understand that the bell symbolizes emptiness and the vajra compassion, so emptiness and compassion. But as we progress to the level of secret mantra, we can understand that the vajra symbolizes skillful means and the bell symbolizes wisdom. And even higher, the great perfection. You Westerners love the great perfection, right, Dzogchen? So in the great perfection, we have natural awareness and emptiness, Rigpa and emptiness. So the Vajra symbolizes Rigpa and the bell symbolizes emptiness. In this way, at each of the 9 vehicles, from the first all the way up to the 9th, we can understand the Vajra and bell to have different types of significance.
Oh yeah, tati indi kala, tin tanda nganzo de chamba ta nyingji dan dewi go ne, tine she go tu kala, tine nyingji segen de shanda yo mar, tang chi dange nyingji segen da tongyi segen da rangi feeling shi gyu shi keche re, di dorji de utru re, dodo sha gyu keche shi ma re, nyingji sene ya samli nyingji gun gyu keche re, tongyi segen tiya, tongyi ki tine aranzo chi ge ta, go nyung tosum go ne rogo gyu shi re, 동이 인지도 고용 도선 거로 내디 다디 딜로도다 dor지도 샤가 기대 천지 잠지다 디베드 알아서나 천지 잠지 계절에 인디다 돈도시나 딜로다 dor지대랑 샘등 상고여래 동이다 인지스게 샘등 사고래 디 톱적이 두양래라 도적이 남양래 어야 드니 지금 원이게 알아서게 학거비기 시야래 디 알아서게 딜로도 dor지스게 시나 도지 딜로도 삼마임바게 말하는 쪽에 쌤 그런 거 원하는 때는 답도 싫어 어야 되는 닝제당 동이다 닝제 어야 다 된대기 때 라미나 게립도 조금씩 먹고 싶어요. 진주 탐지게 천지게 다준도 오지 되는 거라서 줄로다 dor지래. 근데 치일 때는 도지대 줄로 다서다 낭디 강하고 그래서나 랑기 쌤 그런라 닝제당 동이다 닝제대 쌤들 된대요 봐. 대양 지금 미기 수요니 지금 알아서 로그 자르치긴도 제교도 당 지금 양 지금 사드고 더도 수요니 지로 많이 바랑 그런 게 쌤디나라 도친이 되고 내가 수 대식령 부스긴도 보다 응거게 나라 셰비 내가 수 디네 랑중 그리파 스긴도 카접케이 도르지에서 둥거서 나라 카접케이 도르지에서 스긴도 다트네 민간다나 돈도 랑중 이시를 거고 요래 드루 도르지데 치든데가 드루 도르지 돈도 랑중 이시를 전고 요래 드루 탐지 천사지보다 드링 천사티 랑중 이시를 간세 장축게 쌤당 닝제당 어야 동의를 선거인다 다 드링티털 마시겠어.
So here in this session, we're also, our aim is to discuss loving kindness and compassion, right? In connection with the Vajra and Bell. So when we talk about loving kindness and compassion and emptiness, we're talking about kind of inner states of mind, right? Felt states of mind. We're not just talking about some solid object like a Vajra, a solid Vajra that exists outside of us. Compassion and emptiness are internal states, so to speak, that we need to develop, that we need to come to realize, first of all, by means of a conceptual understanding, then deepened into a degree of personal experience, and then finally direct realization. The Vajra and bell are illustrations or symbols of compassion and emptiness, this compassion and emptiness that we need to develop. That said, we also need to understand that essentially compassion and emptiness are inherently present already within our own minds. They are intrinsic to the very kind of fiber of our being, the essential nature of our mind. At once, they are the compassion and emptiness are the result that we need to attain. At the same time, they are the path we need to traverse. They're also the basic ground, the basic state of things. Compassion and emptiness already exist, present within the very essence of our mind. This is an important point we need to understand. We can talk about emptiness and compassion. We can also talk about these same things in terms of wisdom and skillful means, or we can call them generation stage or completion stage. The point is we need to understand emptiness and compassion are naturally present within our own minds. They're not something that is like a product that is manufactured or fabricated, kind of built by someone, crafted by someone's hands with effort and intention, and then produced. Rather, they're already existent, present within the nature of our own minds. At certain levels of teachings, this natural emptiness and compassion is called Buddha nature, Sugata Garbha. In tantric levels of teachings, it's called the all-pervasive Vajra. In short, what we're talking about here is self-arisen Rigpa, naturally present awareness or primordial wisdom, which are illustrated by the Vajra and the bell. In this context, as I've explained, Vajra and bell then have these multiple layers of meaning. In this context, so we are going to discuss the Vajra and bell in light of bodhicitta, compassion and emptiness. So at that level, where they symbolize compassion and emptiness. That's
Tene ta tene nganzo sheshi di nyingje tang tongyi go ni sheshi indu kangla. Tene ngaranzo ata nyingje ta tongyi sekente ta shi deshek nyingbo sa nganzo semchin tamche li gyula yore sin ta kandi yore ya. Sangi ki gyula da yuge nganzo gyula ten yone tene korwa kyam degiro ta kan korwa ma kyam da sangi yegiro ten kan korwa kanzin kyam dira sin na. Ngaranzo gyula sapin do yore te sapin do ngondo gyur ma to bare. Sapin do ngondo ma yuna gam nang luksha gyuga sapin di san du kegi mindwa. Gam ti inji miji sa zi lu, sa la lu, shu lu, tene sa lu, ti ya kye gire. Pe tina shi ma to ke gam nang la ne ki sapin yu na yang, shinga la ma tamo ku kye gi ma re. Pe tina shi nga rang si gyu la tamche la tong yi ten ying je, devar shik pi ying bu, nga rang tamche la yu na yang, lam gomba tang yam sa lemba la ma je na, ti diwu tu ngoto shi tu ku ma re. Ti indu kang la, lama je ke tem go re, chue ji ga dub go re, driba je ke jang go re, ti ngoto gyur go re. Yin na yang, ta nga pe kali jagi yin si diwu tokur tiya yo mar pe na kali kazu gyam na sangwi malu panchi kyo kazu shu chu sang gya kan kase sa ko lu yirma yuru chik damira kari so yo na negi sapi malu ki partu negi sapi chan kegi mar negi nyugu kegi mar ko gyu me na ken kazu chungna changa mar ti nigar dengo yor ti di kala ngarang su gyu di kala sana deshik nyingbo tang tongi nyingje ta labardo nyingje di nga zo samchi tamchir dendi yore rangshingi rik la tumen tang chik kewa la pobo mo tang chik milen kenzo nubsho re nga zo shar shoko mireza tenda kebar tamche le yode yore di gyunzengal tenne ngarang su tamche de tanda gyule yode gengi nyingje tang khenpa tang tsewa tang nyingje yode gengi ngarang su gesem jingi gyule yode gengi di gongbil do tang warta 다 공부를 듣다 वर 제와라 때는 냠내지 쇼 냠내도 지금 메디테이션 되지 마제는 그 냠내 용도 위험한 다디 간데 당부 예비 균신진을 했어요 셰바이나 베나가랑 미탐제 다 최진용에서다 부디스트직 나왔던 잠바다 인지시기다 최선의 고만용과 계속 때 미망고 여기래 자네랑 드링랑데 루빈 웹전에 되는 연계들의 용기 여기한테 여기래 뒤면에 다 가지고 있게라서 얘는 빼 데이터 우지를 삼았던 거 있나요 파마게 부르고 써와요래 알아서 찌찌기 미찌기 알아 째와서 괜찮아요 뒤째와디야 되네 알아서 대신 연구 사빈지래 디미치기 타나 키다 자연주적인 거랑 그 부르고 째와지그래 이 째와지기도 알아서 셈나 내셔널 마인드나 째와 유비게 되네 딱시 뒤된 거요 디 나신지기 알아서 미래를 스페셜 레드와 알아서 미쳤다 남주 탐지 상태게 배 당상 배 니나란 로토겐다 산 다와 산 미머다 다가단 로토겐 딘저기 되는 알아서 시에윤들 차도르데 디 마인바이나 셈진 소소소들 알아서 소그 니바르도와 페나 차라 프루주기 니바 장 링보 킬로미터 니 니슈숨줄로 통주기 딘저기 되네 bayang around so ina korpara gyangshil nangshin ke migul niba yu tekin tira shi khashila nal niba tinda ring gola kari me rinjugul tina hakko gen tinda khashi ge tine kilometer mangu argo dra tu amjol hakko diru thamchil semjin la rangshin ge niba yu tar esmo di nangshin chi semjil niba kanse kemba dang kem zewa yu rese tak di chembi gone kashi 남가라 부르죠 kashi 살아줘 답에 추신도이나 백가말 숙시고 요랬어겐도 오야 되나 제가 랑신도이나 락발라 시우지 되네 추여메 하고 그랬어겐도 디든다면 안 수술라더니 캠바요래 디 캠바래 디 니바요래 달라 골토 거래 냐라 야고 치투 거래 보나서 랑 프로텍션 진기도나 밀은 징투게 드레치투게 요래 샘진라야 밀라다 디경다 빼메게 니코범다 아이템 범다 민다기 다 당사 딘데기 디네 막야기 주박야기 니바양 소도 거래 남로 저기 살아 버주기 되어 소도 거래 딘난신 지금 알아서 여기디 샘기 니비땡을 중으로 마도게 가게 좀아 림보지 하고 그래서 말해 당선 컴퓨터 난 다음에 망고서 로봇기 망고서요 다다 AI 기 디지털 랩사를 고 하고 오면 AI 가지면 지금 속에 미기 수요를 마도게 AI 기 미소교 말아 띠인도 간 디 시기는 알아서 미나는 미수부 소교 말해 디 랩하고 소교로 레버디 가발로 열어서 봐지 나라도 셈래 셈디 가라서 봐지 셈기 모두 가서 캠바다 제와 뉴스음도 된대래 디 니빠디 제당당 디 니빠디 기네 숙제중당 딘디 거니 미게 남주 지금 오니 남주 상뢰 오야 되는 상기 장주세 바이나 똑바틀 사당분이 이번 숨숨을 시와서야 털 디 똑당을 거니 케버게 거니 되니 양 배조바침보 차야침보 우마침보 쓰긴 텐데 케버 라서 바레스 아무 뭐 얘기면 되게 맞이나 nen tawsir samdo ta pese gom sherin samare beta
So compassion and emptiness, you might think, okay, so you're saying we are all endowed with Buddha nature, we possess Buddha nature, which is basically emptiness and compassion. Those are natural qualities of our mind. You say that, but how can that really be the case? Sure, that makes sense to say that about a Buddha. A Buddha's already enlightened. Sure, they're naturally endowed with compassion and emptiness. But if that were the case for us, why then are we here in, wandering through samsara? If our mind is by its very nature compassion and emptiness, why are we here? Why are we struggled and why are we struggling and suffering? Well, when we say that we possess Buddha nature, that is the fiber of our being, what we mean is that we possess Buddha nature like a seed. We are endowed with that seed, that potential. What we need to do is to make that seed grow, to allow that seed to grow, to actualize it. We use that word actualize or manifest. If you have a seed, but you just keep that seed in a box, you don't plant it, it's never going to grow, right? It's never going to fulfill its potential. You need to take the seed out of the box. You need to plant it. You also need to keep it watered, make sure it has enough sunlight, provide it with the proper conditions for growth, and then it can grow into, into whatever its potential is. So our Buddha nature is just like that. It exists within all of us in the form of a seed, a basic potential. And that potential, if allowed to manifest, then it can manifest. So this is why it's taught that all beings are in emptiness and compassion are present intrinsically in the nature of all beings' minds. In this way, all beings have Buddha nature. But at the same time as sort of being taught that, you'll also hear teachers saying you need to train on the path, you need to exert effort, you need to do purification, gather merit, and so on and so forth. That's all to say that we have Buddha nature in the form of a seed, but if we don't exert ourselves, if we don't apply the effort, which is like gathering the conditions, planting the seed, water, sunlight, and so on, that seed of Buddha nature isn't going to be able to grow. Our Buddha nature isn't going to be able to manifest. So if though we bring these two things together, this natural asset of Buddha nature, as well as the effort, meaning training on the path, then our Buddha nature can expand, it can flourish and display its potential, so to speak. We can describe Buddha nature in terms of three qualities, and we can also actually condense all of Buddha's enlightened qualities into these same three: wisdom, love, and power. There is an intrinsic degree of wisdom, love, and power in all of us and in all sentient beings, no matter who we are, no matter what type of being, no matter our gender, our class, our status, our situation. So this intrinsic intelligence, love, and power or ability is present in all of us. What we need to do is to build on that, to expand and perfect that natural inherent potential. Many of you here are probably seasoned Dharma students, and you've heard about all of this many times. There might be some here, though, who are completely new. Maybe this is the first time you've heard about these things. Even though for those of you who are totally new, who've never been exposed to Buddha's teachings before, you too, just like everyone else, are endowed with these intrinsic qualities. For instance, if you have children, you will feel a natural love for your children, a natural love for your friends and close ones, right? We see this also in animals, in dogs, in birds, in all types of animals. This kind of intrinsic love is a sign of Buddha nature, like the sign or glow of Buddha nature. We see the potential of human beings in the things that we've been able to invent and create, like rockets that can fly to the moon. That's also a sign of Buddha nature, actually. The potential of mind. We see also these qualities in animals, for instance, some birds who are able to see sort of tens of thousands of miles away, or some can smell extremely accurately over very vast distances. Some have that kind of power with their hearing and so on. So these extraordinary qualities that are unique to each type of being are signs of Buddha nature, signs of Buddha nature shining through. Same goes with love. There's intrinsic love, like we mentioned, and also a sense of capacity or power. Like elephants, it said they can detect water with their trunks. Some sea animals have extremely powerful tails that they can do extraordinary things with. In terms of humans, we have the ability to look after those we care for and to fend off enemies, right? That's also a type of ability. To the extent that also in recent times we've built nuclear weapons and so on. Planes, the ability to drill through the ground and so on. All of this is a sign of Buddha nature shining through, this basic ability, right? This basic ability. You might think when I say this, oh, Rinpoche doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, these technological advancements, they're made by machines, not by humans. But those machines that are doing the work are made by humans, right? And the ability of humans to make those machines, to invent those things, is a display or evidence or function of Buddha nature, of these intrinsic qualities of the mind. So these intrinsic qualities, to sum up, are knowledge, love, and power. These three qualities. How, depending on how developed these qualities are within each individual, how developed, how expanded, then we see in individuals, we see differences in individuals, how sort of positive and wholesome someone's conduct is, how developed they are as a person. To the extent of, all the different types of sentient beings in samsara, to the enlightened Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
Oh yeah, that's the kind of ngārāṋ sūki tōngi tāng īngche sēkēn tē rāngshīng kī sēm rī yō tē bātī hā kōne tēne sēm jēn tam chēla chām īngche chāngchū kū sēm gōm kū yō rē tē chāngchū kū sēm tē tsō tē rāng kā āma tāng āpa nī la pāma nī tā tsō chēne gōm kū wā tā chōnchū nā nē tē sōng yō rē kunsā lā mē shā lōng nā nē tē sōng dō tēne tā tē nā shīn chī ngā tsō kē kāng sē sē nā chō chē pār tēng ādī shē kē lām tū nā lā yā tē sōng shā rē tē tāng pū rāng kē pāma tē kā tīn chī bō yī bā hā kō wā te pama katin chimpa haku yone te pama shindu ten dwar tu semchen ki dan cha dan chiula so ba dan ida ge lu su ge ne kap so yang pama katin chimpa yimba ten pama katin chimpa te yimba te haku ye so ta tanda rang milu ji to tabi che dan jal dinde ge kalwa sam bu chwe ne kap so rang chi bu sang ge to na ko ba to ne dige min du semchen ta tam che te ne sang gi ko bon bu jing ko pra chao nyam bi ge sam ba la chang chu ge sem oh ya 엔치게 귤에 계세베 때는 닝지다라 신슈고 계그래 닝지의 강진 계그래서 인제 다 되서 단제 하고면도 타로 탐지기 믿고 보는 거지 룹시기면도 냠비기 닝지 계그래 근데 마이는 지딩 알아서 탈말 계제셔봐 이나야 베나 랑게 파마지 대 저거도는 나대요 여긴도보다 늦어되나 랑셈이 속이 말 아ten딩이 아마레 디칼리 가고도 단딜이 컨디션이 겨 멘테나 겹는 거기도 나요 주는 거기도 가서 삼로지 거르고와리 인소야한테네 잠바다 닝지게 되네 딸레 잠바다 닝지게 슈그레 어디 띠인도 강랑 안서 되네 당쇼디 알아서 미 탐지를 찍으라이나야 잠바다 닝제도 고거래 잠바다 닝제도 종사비 제수 추기 시디 팅도 그래 장축기 셈 저거는 추기 시디 팅도 와 인도 강화데 탐지게 당고되는 닝제스겐들 빼 자침부 쓰고 주지래 닝제디야 마시 닝제 니여래 닝제 찍디 되네 동니 닝지 단절위기 닝지 띵닝지 뺏상 말에 산이랑 뒤지 로산이요 말에 디마임비기 동니카 닝지 가시디 랑 부기 부주기 임비기 닝제당 랑기 파마 임비기 닝제당 딘득이 닝제저래 니 닝제디 대성 닝제 가서서나다 양다바지 말에 이단게 리둑 탐질 닝제요 말 랑기 자사냐사 닝제 인세워다 디디 Jidangi ngaran so ge ningji ji nang la da ningji se gore de ningji yang ta ba ji ma re ningji se ge chomi ge ningji gore su la yang de rang da shen me la bi ge na sem jen tam je la chomi ge ningji jo ningji yang da ba re o de da ningji de gom sa wi je su o de ne rang tu yi ji ge lo me bi to ne sem jen la de ningji ya bu ji gomne tene choje dubge na te tedan te tongni chik tene rangshing le ong gare o te de kan tene tongni de inje ni de tat tang de gewa shen tuzu mi ta ji ma shen na tuzu ke chin de ja sang go shi do ke inde kan la ta ni tongni ninje de cha la tongni de me na ninje yong su zo bu ma re kan se na ninje chung cha ro ninje ge sa che de chung cha ro 근데 똥이 땅 댐비기 닝제데 닝제 야첨부 남관하신 야첨부 차로래 딘도 강라 똥이 닝지 중도 쭉 봐서 그냥 대세거래 야나 또 닝제 짠 미게 똥바 찍고 겁나야 디안 람서 말해 디 똥바 찍고 거셔면 람체다 하로래 디안 상기 거봉 토고 말해 닝제 땅다 똥바 니데와 데니 람서 토바 많이 넣어서 살아가게 송도 딘디 똥이 닝제 닝부진 장주 좀 가지려서 똥바데 닝제 니데 중도 쭉 송파죠 tawa tamchik yalo yang tere, tatung juu topkyu yang tere, lam droja tiyang tongi de nyingche songdu chukbe lam gomba ina, lam tamchik tatuk tere. Di tiyendu kala, ta tamchik tene, tongi de nyingche siken tege, rondakda hakwa chene, ta gewa peshe gyor, ta sarsa maare. Di hakwa chene, ti kerang naba kang gom kudu sida, ti karba kashi gire gom gyabne. Ya de gom siken de, ngarang suke tene, gom siken de sem nikyu tere. Ta di yanchu chikla, tsewa tang dirwege, 도지티루기 샤바데 사라제 다 곰디디 셰게데 곰스긴다 섹션 니와드 곰셰긴스 줌두다
Compassion and emptiness are naturally present in all beings. By virtue of knowing this, we can generate loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta towards ourselves and all beings without exception. In treatises like The Way of a Bodhisattva by Shantideva and Atisha's Lamp of Enlightenment, it's taught that one should cultivate loving kindness and compassion by acknowledging that all sentient beings in past lives have been one's mother. For instance, in Atisha's Lamp of Enlightenment, he teaches 7 progressive stages for developing the mind of enlightenment. And the first of these is to acknowledge that all sentient beings, no matter what state they might be in now, whether they be hungry ghosts or hell beings or animals or what have you, at some point in the past, they have been your mother in one of your previous rebirths. And at that time, they nurtured you with great love and kindness. So acknowledging that connection and acknowledging that kindness is the first step. Based on that understanding, one can then come to think that, okay, now I've obtained this precious human body, this extraordinarily fortunate situation, I've met with the Dharma, I have the chance to pursue the path to enlightenment. But considering the kindness that all sentient beings have shown me in the past, it would be indecent to just pursue enlightenment for myself. So therefore, I will pursue enlightenment for the sake of all beings, not just myself. Yeah, and at the same time, we can, to feel compassion for all sentient beings, understanding that all sentient beings share the same fundamental wish for happiness and freedom from suffering, but through their ignorance, they don't know how to pursue that wish. Instead, they actually cultivate causes for suffering and obstruct their own causes, their own potential for happiness. So with that, we further engender compassion. In this way, we cultivate compassion, we increase our compassion. Equally, we do experience like a natural compassion already. For instance, if you see your mother in pain, naturally, like a sense of compassion and care will well up inside you, right? So just naturally there without having to cultivate it. You'll immediately think, what can I do to help my mother? Can I take her to the doctor? What kind of medicine can I get her? So there's this natural loving kindness and compassion already. Once we establish and cultivate a stable foundation of loving kindness and compassion, then with that basis, we can then cultivate bodhicitta, the wish to attain enlightenment for all other sentient beings. It's for this reason that loving kindness and compassion are so incredibly important and such precious qualities. That said, there are 2 different types of compassion we can talk about. First of all is compassion that is infused with an understanding of emptiness. It's this compassion that is pure and genuine. There's another type of compassion which is void of an understanding of emptiness, compassion that is centered in self-interest, so to speak, a very biased and conditioned compassion. That is not going to be genuine and pure. It's not going to be boundless. And the kind of compassion we're aiming for is an unconditional, unlimited, unbiased compassion. And that only comes when compassion is infused with an understanding of emptiness, infused or embraced with emptiness. Otherwise, just compassion on its own, void of emptiness, cannot possibly be genuine in the sense of boundless and beyond self-interest. If compassion is united or conjoined with emptiness, it can become unconditional, unlimited, as vast as space, vast and unimpeded as space. It's for this reason that we talk about emptiness and compassion together, that we need emptiness and compassion to go hand in hand, not separate from one another. At the same time, if we just have an understanding of emptiness but no compassion, that is also not the genuine approach. With emptiness void of compassion, we'll fall into nihilism. The unity of emptiness and compassion is indispensable. There are quotations in the scriptures by masters like the Mahasiddha Saraha that speak to this point. Yeah, again and again. Without, for instance, Saraha says, with emptiness without compassion will not bring one to enlightenment. Compassion without emptiness will not bring one to enlightenment. Therefore, emptiness and compassion must be a unity. So this is the path that we need to, this is the way we need to traverse the path, the unity of emptiness and compassion. And this is also the result, a natural unity of emptiness and compassion. Without these two qualities being cultivated together, enlightenment is simply not possible. With this, we've now covered the first of supposedly several topics we're going to discuss, which is discussing the Vajra and Bell in connection with loving kindness and compassion. So now, with the little bit of time we've got left, we will talk about meditation.
야, 다 곰식이디 곰식인데 ध्यान석을 야garkel라. ध्यान석인데 셈찌직도 내길 세요. 알았어?
So meditation means dhyan in Sanskrit, which means a one-pointed mind.
인디 강라타 디 강라티네 먼저 셈찌직 내고래서 반주 디 띵인들 내고 알았어?
So how should we cultivate or get a one-pointed state of mind through samadhi?
이니 남도 메비토 내고요.
By means of freedom from thoughts.
남도 메바스긴들 딱 갖다들 빼미 가정이 다 디베트 하우스를 빼기와시 빼 되는 예방하다 뒤지기에서 빵네 레셈기 네바 구스긴 시켜줘야 돼. 된소시야. 다 된소기랑서 리빈 뮤즈나라 제디가나 겨는 디 레코딩 요 된소리냐 하고 다 데일 뒤즈미두스.
So what do we mean by freedom from thoughts and how to go about that? I explained this in some degree of detail when teaching at Tibet House recently. I explained that one abandons 5 flaws by means of 8 remedial factors, and in that way develops 9 stages of resting the mind. No time to go through these here, but those of you who are interested can listen to the recording.
디니 다 셈찌직도 내기들 고민도 강다 단다 강원 내고서 농이된 인증을 내고요.
So when we say resting in a one-pointed state of mind, what we mean in this context is a one-pointed state of emptiness and compassion.
이 당선 미탐지 곰스긴데 탐지 직과행인데 조과 전부 고민나래 자기 전부 고민 엄마 전부 고민을 탐지 지 곰스긴 탐지 직과행기로 해서 곰스긴데 치료를 못 되발아요. 탐지를 치료 먹고를 고민해야 돼.
These days, it seems everyone thinks meditation is just like one lump thing, or like the meditation of Madhyamaka, of Mahamudra, of great perfection. It's all the same thing. It's just meditation. This is wrong. Non-Buddhists also have meditation, but their types of meditation are very different from Buddhist meditation.
다 지금 셈 네빠지를 해대 강이나 장축sem다 동이 곰나 장축게 셈때다 동이들 니규티 야 곰레스 딜당 아주 낭바상지기 깨절 강하스나 더럽제비 땡인진 세계레스 지난게 셈 네빠 담질 윤티 먹고 셔리겨 셈 네빠 좀 우시 셔리겨 셈 네빠 좀 기부 용거래 셈 네빠 좀 준줄 먹고 듣기트라 용거 디셈 그런 거 윤팅다 퀄리티 티여래 강 대신 인부여러 와 되게 윤생 용거데 디기 타로토 두고 말해 디인디 셈 네파디 강서 동이가 네 동이 인증아 네투네 타로토 그래 된 다른 디톨라된 차게 친구들 때네 공부를 네투나 딜에 교가상 얘기 딜에 저거 친구들 비우톨 네투이나 네 세지 루지를 상기 그래서 데 딘저기 다 림바 먹고요 곰스게 딘저 믹좀 데데데 탐지 곰 탐지 직과에 나한다고 저지 가지 디 질루를 탕즈라 때도 얘다 디야 곰이나
So we need to cultivate we could say a still state of mind, or a still state of mind. But what do we mean by that? Well, in this case, we're talking about cultivating a state of bodhicitta, meaning compassion and emptiness. In the Buddhist tradition, this is called the samadhi that ascertains the nature of things, resting in one-pointed absorption in emptiness and compassion. even just resting the mind in a sort of ordinary, so to speak, state of stillness actually has enormous qualities or enormous potential. Just by letting the mind remain still can develop the mind's natural qualities. It can blossom into certain types of clairvoyance, supernatural powers, also bring about a lot of happiness. But those qualities alone will not lead to liberation. So the point then being that what we need to meditate on, what we need to kind of rest our mind in is emptiness and compassion. Through that, we can attain enlightenment. Through resting in emptiness and compassion, we can reach enlightenment. If we rest in the state of Mahamudra, then we can attain that state of enlightenment much, much faster. If we can rest the mind in the view of the great perfection, we can manifest enlightenment in a single life and single body. So these are the differences, right, between many different types of meditation. These days, it seems people think meditation is simply, sitting in a certain posture and being still. Ringing a singing bowl and listening to the sound peacefully. That is not necessarily meditation, and certainly meditation is not limited just to that. There's a sutra Buddha taught called the King of Samadhi Sutras. It goes through many hundreds of different types of samadhi, different types of meditation.
Oh yeah, interest YouTube now that I love share can also dinam yen chasang gewashi that thing love you me that DJ can also do it till karmangas gendir with that is also.
So I won't say any more about this now. We simply don't have time. We've already run over time. Those of you who are interested can listen to the recordings of various teachings I've given where I discuss these very points in much more detail. So you can listen to those. They're on YouTube and things. We'll stop now.
Thank you, Laura, so much for translating all this while. Rinpoche, thank you so much for filling the time so richly with these teaching, reminding of us of our intrinsic Buddha nature.
Good, okay.
Okay, thank you all for joining. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That concludes this week's practice. To support the Rubin and this meditation series, we invite you to become a member at rubinmuseum.org/membership. And to stay up to date with the Rubin Museum's virtual and in-person offerings, sign up for our monthly newsletter at rubinmuseum.org/e-news. I am Tashi Chodron. Thank you so much for listening. Have a mindful day.